the first business we pivoted into was people were renting, at the time they were renting these Japanese video games, which you could play on your, on your modded PlayStations. For those of you who remember those, so you could play Japanese, supposedly, right? You're playing pirated games, but you can play Japanese games. And so we figured out through that there was this popular series of music games in Asia that you couldn't get in the United States. And the most popular game at that time was Dance Dance Revolution. It was huge in Asia, but hadn't made its way to the US. And people were renting these games online from us, and they couldn't play with the Dancepads. So they were emailing us asking, hey, can we get Dancepads from you? And so our first decision at that point was, well, if they're asking us for Dancepads, why don't we just sell them Dancepads? It was a very simple sort of business decision. So we started selling Dancepads. The Dancepads we were selling were just utter garbage, and were breaking down. And so we decided, you know what, we could make better product than this. And we started designing our own Dancepads. I packed my bags, flew out to China, figured out how they made Dancepads. And then so we got into the business of making Dancepads, and that was what kept us afloat for years. And we grew that business slowly, survived until 2004 when we, I guess one morning just realized, if Konami stopped making Dance Dance Revolution, we'd be out of business. So we decided, all right, well, we better get into the business of making software as well. And so we found some folks that had done an arcade dance game and partnered with them to make a PS2 version of that. And that was our first foray into video game publishing. And that was when we first learned about publishing games, especially music games, and tweaking the formula to make music games that were so enormously popular in Asia, but somehow hadn't caught on in the US. And the second game we made was Guitar Hero. And it was just sort of tweaking the formulas a little bit to try to find out how can you make this music game, which has at its core super fun play mechanics, how could you make it appeal to American and European audiences?
Sure.
And that took us all the way to 2005, and then kind of from there on, it just sort of exploded.